We're still a couple of weeks away from getting our hands on Overwatch 2's newest tank hero, but judging by his leaked ability kit, the Omnic Liberation Leader is going to be an absolute menace. Details on the shady head honcho of Null Sector have been kept deliberately under wraps by Blizzard, but the new tank's full ability kit seems to have been leaked through a Korean media session. As a result, the translations into English can be taken with a slight pinch of salt. Some of the finer details, like ability names for example, will likely be different once Ramattra hits the Battle Pass in December, and it's always worth being skeptical of any leaks until official news is actually revealed. But there is enough to go on to give us an early glimpse of just how powerful this Omnic is. So let's break down each of Ramattra's abilities and try to see how he might fit into, or more likely disrupt, the current Overwatch 2 meta. The biggest factor of Ramattra's kit is that he obviously has two forms. This was confirmed when the hero was revealed, but he has two very distinct playstyles depending on which form he's in. His Omnic form is far more passive and relies on keeping space between your team and your enemies, while his Nemesis form is designed for aggressive pushes into enemy lines to force your way onto an objective or point. In Omnic form, your Void Accelerator primary fire lets off a projectile that fires in a certain shape. It's not quite clear what this shape will actually be, but for now it's just your bog standard ranged tank primary weapon. Your secondary fire is much more interesting though, as it creates a barrier at a target location. Again, it's not clear what form that barrier will take, whether we're looking at a Sigma style barrier that floats to block choke points or entryways, or whether it's a more Winston style barrier that you drop on the ground to cover a larger point. Given how strong Winston has been in the higher ranks, and especially in the Overwatch League, Ramattra might be ready-made for this meta, but we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit. Their next ability, Vortex of Gluttony, again take the translation loosely, looks like a direct counter to flying heroes which will have the likes of Mercy and Pharah, and even heroes who just enjoy moving around in the air like Lucio, Genji, hell, even Sojourn, scrambling for cover. The ability launches nanospheres which explode on impact and create a damaging force field, so you're already chipping away at any heroes caught on it on the ground. But crucially, the ability also pulls any airborne enemies caught in it towards the ground and reduces their movement speed to boot, which means your team are free to rule the skies over the point or objective, while your DPS pick off the helpless remnants of the enemy squad. So, shields, a mid-range projectile primary, and what looks like crowd control in my Overwatch 2. As we know though, Ramattra isn't a one-trick Omnic. He can protect, but he can also attack thanks to his Nemesis form. Using his Chastisement ability, Ramattra can transform into this hulking robotic tank. While in this form, he gains an extra 150 health, going up from his standard 450 to a tasty 600. According to the translations, this shift to Nemesis form only lasts for about 8 seconds, so it's not around forever. And we imagine the cooldown on it will be relatively hefty considering the abilities Ramattra gets access to while in the form. It's not just a boost to HP and a bigger hitbox. After transforming, his primary fire becomes a powerful fist attack that sends shockwaves out ahead of Ramattra whenever he raises a fist to attack. These shockwaves will carry through multiple targets as well, so the enemy tanks are going to have an even harder time providing cover for their squishy supports and DPS teammates. Using secondary fire doesn't do a different attack, but rather reduces Ramattra's movement speed by a significant amount, but compensates with a massive boost to damage output from each attack. Perfect for sweeping up weakened enemy teams once you've grounded them with a vortex. It's also worth pointing out his Nemesis form could be used as a Hail Mercy on defense as well. That boost of 150 in HP could just keep you up and in a fight while you wait for your team to get back on the point, although you would be trading a smaller hitbox for a much larger and easier to hit one. How and when you decide to use Ramattra's Nemesis form is going to be the key component of his kit, and if he does become meta, you can expect to see some ridiculous techs and ability management once he lands in the Overwatch League proper. And finally, we're on to Ramattra's ultimate, aptly named, in the translation at least, as Destruction. Ramattra auto switches to his Nemesis form as soon as the ultimate is triggered, so if you time it right, you could theoretically extend the amount of time he's in Nemesis form from 8 seconds to however long his ult will last. During the ultimate, Ramattra creates an energy zone around him within which any enemies caught in it will take ticks of damage over time. This is the most interesting bit though. The duration of this energy zone, and thus how much damage it can deal out, continues forever, as long as there are still enemies being damaged by it, which is unbelievably good for forcing your way onto a payload or objective, since enemies literally have no choice but to back up or take constant damage for their trouble. Obviously, we don't know the exact details of this ult yet, so we don't know how big the damage dealing energy zone will be, or exactly how much damage each tick within the zone will deal to enemies, but it sounds like a powerful ability no matter how you slice it. All in all, Ramattra's kit looks pretty good. Every new Overwatch 2 hero so far has had at least some time at the very top of the Overwatch League meta, and you can bet that Ramattra's numbers will likely be dialed towards the stronger side to make sure he's worth unlocking on the battle pass for more casual players. Carrying barriers, what looks like a pretty decent and rare crowd control ability, and with an ult and alternative form that can blast through enemy teams, this Omnic looks like they could easily compete with the tanks at the top of Overwatch 2. As for lower, more casual levels of play, well, we'll have to wait and see. His kit looks powerful, but clearly there's a lot of nuance in how and when you use Ramattra's abilities. So there is a question as to whether players at lower levels will be able to get value out of him. And obviously these are leaks for now, so we should be taking them with a pinch of salt until Blizzard officially confirms them. But will he be broken or bottom of the barrel? We won't have to wait much longer to find out for sure. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Overwatch 2 content like this as Season 2 draws ever nearer. Let us know what you think about Ramattra's leaked abilities in the comments, and we'll catch you next time.